Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. This is a quote by Abraham Lincoln that I really try to live my entire life based off of. A lot of us go into the new year without really having a solid plan, a solid foundation. Or some of us, we have goals, we have missions, we have visions, but we don't have a very strict and solid plan to follow step by step each day, each week, each month, each quarter, until the end of the year to make sure that our goals are met every single time. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to lead by example. I want to show you my plan to make $1.4 million in net profits in 2026. But most importantly, I want to show you my review of 2025, the wins and the losses, the mistakes, the lessons. So hopefully you can take the mistakes and the lessons, you don't do them, and you get results much faster than I did. And you can take the lessons and speeden up your results. So that's pretty much all that there is to it. Either faster results, either shorter time spans. That's what we're trying to do here. So let's get on with it. Let's start sharpening our axe together. So when it comes to the 2025 review, now, full transparency, 2025 was a pretty good year for our business. This is the client's tracking board. And as you can see, this is a new board, by the way. I don't have the dates here. I don't know how to come up with the dates. But in the last couple of months, we were able to generate $114,000 for our clients. Or actually, I'll be honest, they generated it for themselves. I just guided them. I don't want to take any credit for that. I just guided them in the right direction. They took action. But it was a pretty good year, to be honest about that. And for ourselves, we've even made much more. But I believe that we could be bigger, do bigger things, and achieve much greater levels of wealth and of impact. So that's why we're aiming to $1.4 million in net profit. Now, the losses and the mistakes. What is the first mistake that I went through that didn't allow me to hit that goal, 1.4, much earlier on? And it's focus and decision making spread too thin. See, there's something that I like to think about, which is your ability to. So every day, you wake up with a battery that is fully charged. And then during the day, you just spend this charge until you go to sleep and you just recharge when you're sleeping. Your focus works kind of the same way. So imagine this ball of, let's put it as a white ball, or actually a yellow ball. This ball of focus is your energy ball. But every single day, from the moment that you wake up, your entire energy is going all over the place. You're thinking about high ticket, low ticket, a new funnel that you want to set for your business, a new team member that you want to hire, a new workout routine that you're excited to try, a conversation that you want to have with your loved one, a conversation that you want to have with your family, a conversation that you want to have with your coach. So your energy, your focus is going all over the place. And this is literally what happened with us. In 2025, one of my big plans was to hit 50K per month net profit, which we were very close to do it. But the how was very bad. All that I did, I started focusing on low ticket. And then I set up a funnel to sell this low ticket, which took me weeks to set it up. And then I used ads a little bit. And I also do organic. By the way, like I've made multi-millions of dollars organic. So org. Sorry for my very bad hand drawing. But I also focused on other things within the business, which is, for example, should I stop DMing people? And then building custom GPTs, so AI. So you can imagine how my focus was all over the place and I couldn't really just sit down and be excellent at one thing. And the market does not reward people who are just mediocre at a lot of things. They reward people who are excellent and masters at one thing, and they do it so well that no one else can compete with them. So in 2025, this is how my focus was. And look, I'll be honest, we got great results. Actually, let me see. Do I have screenshots somewhere over here? I think, here you are. Here you are. Yeah. So as you can see over here, like this is my email notifications. I was listening to Alex Hormozzi's podcast. And as you can see, this is a pioneer. So basically, Stripe received multiple payments, they bundled them and they sent them to Pioneer. So every day I was getting multiple payments, multiple payments, multiple payments, multiple payments. Every single day. We sold low ticket very successfully. We sold high ticket very successfully. We were very successful, but not to the point of making $1.4 million in net profit because we were going all over the place. We were spread too thin. So ideally in 2026, what I would like us to look like is this. This is what I literally want and want myself to look like. And I'm going to show you the plan. I have an entire one-page business plan that I'm going to show you that you can hopefully use for yourself too. So focus looks like this. I want to go far on one thing. So that's all that I want to do. Go far on one thing. What is this one thing? I'm going to show you in a bit. And I think this is the best vehicle to actually go and make $1.4 million consistently. Now, the question for you is, if you were to draw kind of this sun, if you want to look at it, where is your focus going? Are you focusing all over the place or on one thing that you could just commit to over a longer period of time? Think about that. Cool. The second loss or mistake, it's not a loss in my opinion, emotions got the best of me. Something that I try to teach my clients as much as I can is the business is built on data, not on emotions. This is why we track every client data. So like even my clients have surveys that they fill so they could give me feedback on what's working, what's not working, so we could sharpen their work. We have the entire tracking board over here of all of the actions that you take, everything that you do from A to Z, and the results and the outcome, everything. I even over here, but for sure I'm not going to share it because it's the business finances. I have a tracking sheet for the business finances because emotions based on data are real. There's substance to it. But let's take, for example, actually, I want you to see me. Hey, what's up? It's still very early in the morning. So, so imagine, for example, one day you couldn't sleep well. It happens with all of us. We couldn't sleep well. And we woke up early and we were grumpy. Now imagine your entire business decisions for that day were based on how you felt, which is grumpy. You just didn't feel like it. You're a grumpy grandfather in the morning. How is it going to look like? Your decisions, how are you going to make decisions? How are you going to communicate with your clients? How are you going to write content based on your grumpiness? It doesn't work, really. So running the business based on emotions is not such an ideal scenario. And it got the best of me. So one of the things that we're going to reinforce in 2026 is putting a plan, following the plan, tracking the data, following the data. That's it. And falling on personal foundations. Now, this is a pretty big one. For the longest time, till this day, I'm a pretty fit person. I prepped for bodybuilding competitions. I was a D1 athlete. I'm a very fit person. But in 2025, I fell on personal foundations. Sorry, this was client messages. So one of the things that I try to always, this is kind of the core of my methodology. Business, identity, and environment. If you don't work on all of those three together, you're always going to feel that there's a missing piece. You're always going to feel that there's a missing link. And a lot of people that come to me and want to work with me, they tell me like, Arnold, I feel that I'm very close. I feel that I'm very close. And every time they think that we're going to teach them another strategy, we're going to give them another funnel, another framework, when in reality, we always look at maybe their environment, maybe their identity. And is it in alignment with the business? Is the business a reflection of who you are or a disconnect from who you are? Now, this is advanced stuff. I only work like with pretty high level clients, so this is advanced stuff. But here's an example that everyone could understand. Imagine I put you in a Formula One car, one of the best engineered cars in the world, fastest cars in the world. Most probably, you're gonna crash and you're gonna die. Why? It's not because the car is bad, it's not because you are a bad human being, it's because you have not trained yourself enough to be able to drive such a vehicle. That's why so many people focus on business, on messaging, on marketing, on funnel, on strategy, on DMs, on all of that. And honestly, like even in my business, we have something called the client creator funnel, which is inevitably one of the best in the world at creating clients. One of the best in the world at creating clients. I use that to make $250,000 in 8 months. One of the best in the world because it works on psychology, not platforms and trends like people teach. But even if I give you right now the client creator framework, even if I give you the model right now, but you're in a bad spot, you're living around people who are not ideal, you don't have routines, you don't have structures for your day, you don't know how to operate as a CEO or as an entrepreneur, you still have maybe the wrong mindset. Limiting beliefs around money, limiting beliefs around sales, limiting beliefs around what you could say to the market. You're not gonna make it work. You're not gonna succeed. Not because you're a bad guy or bad gal or whatever. It's just because you have to have a very strong mix of all three. And I could give you like client case studies upon client case studies. Go to my YouTube channel. You're gonna see that every single case study of my clients, the biggest breakthrough was never the business model that I gave them. It has always been what their identity and environment allowed them to do and how we engineered that for success. Anywho, for me, where are we? Yeah, I lost it. For me, I fell on personal foundations. I didn't track my personal foundations. I didn't know each week exactly how it's gonna look like. I fell on date nights sometime with my fiance. I fell on my training sometimes. I fell on my nutrition sometimes. So if you see over here, I have something called the perfect predictable week. So what are the behaviors that you're going to do every single week to make sure that your week is very successful? I did not have that in 2025. So sometimes I didn't lift 4 times. I lifted 5 times. Another week I lifted only 2 times. I didn't run, barely. I didn't do any mobility. I fell on so many date nights with my fiance because I didn't have something to track. So it's very important for you to have something to track. What is going to be your perfect predictable week? What are the steps? What are the things that you can do that if you do, you can take care of your business, of your identity, and of your environment every single week predictably and consistently? That is the question. A lot of people want to have predictable results, but they don't track. They don't have systems to generate predictability. It's impossible. You need to have them. So, lessons. Those are the big mistakes. We lost a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy on those. The lessons. What are we going to do to improve? And hopefully you can take some of those lessons to yourself. Set the plan, play the plan, and trust that God has your back. That's one of the big things that a lot of people just throw in the garbage. Look at my one-page business plan. I just want to show you. This is approximately like 6 chapters, ranging all the way from my yearly quote to the company missions, to the company value, to the who is my target audience, who is my messaging, everything around my messaging, what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say it, the assets that I could use to sell my offer, the funnel that I'm going to follow, the 2026, the stuff that went well, the stuff that we could remove, the vision, the targets, the milestones, the quarters. Every quarter is mapped out. Every week is mapped out. Every day, the daily behaviors. I have also something called the perfect predictable day. Everything is mapped out. Why? Give me 6 hours to chop it down a tree, and I will spend the first four sharpening the axe. This is my axe being sharpened. I don't want to go into the year with blinders. I don't want to go into the year not knowing how to do things. Might this plan change? Of course, of course, of course. No one knows what God has in store for them. But that doesn't mean that you don't plan. That doesn't mean that you don't prep. That doesn't mean that you don't take care of the most basic things in your business. Set the plan, play the plan every single day to the best of your ability. This is also something that I learned when I was an athlete. When I was an athlete, like, I'll be honest with you, our trainings were very boring. Every day we would go to the arena, and for 4 hours, all that we did was the same routine every single week. Sometimes the coach would bless us with something different. Sometimes, and we would be like, amazing, something different. We would love that. But this is the reality. Set the plan, play the plan, repeat it again and again until you become a master at it. That's kind of the key to success, or the key, the secret to success. There's nothing more. This is why it's so important to have good alignment between your business, identity, and environment, so you can have a plan and play the plan rather than being distracted. The second lesson, play on your strengths and truths, not what the market is asking for. Be the lighthouse that shines in the darkness. This is one of the most important things nowadays. Last year, a lot of information just was thrown out into the marketplace. AI rose. A lot of people teaching a lot of things, to like, stuff became too overwhelming when it comes to information side of the equation, I would say. And very few people have been able to tune into their voice, into their uniqueness, into their truth, and shout it on top of the rooftops. And those people are the lighthouse. Now, what is a lighthouse? Think about it. You have two types of people. You have the pirate who just waits for a ship and then attacks the ship. Hopefully, he'll get the ship. Or the lighthouse that shines bright and every single ship gravitates towards it. You want to be a lighthouse. You don't want to be a a pirate. So one of the biggest lessons is to tune out the market, tune out people. In 2025, at the end of 2025, so the last quarter, I would say, I deleted all socials. I even, like, here, let me show you. If I open Facebook, by the way, like, Facebook generated me multi 7 figures. I have something called the hide feed over here, which should be toggled on, but I didn't because I was scrolling. Yes, I also fall, so I'm gonna be honest about it. And I don't see anything over here. I don't want to see anything over here. I want everything to be hidden because I don't want to waste time on looking at other people. I want to tune in my own message and my own uniqueness. And this is where also this comes into play, which is identity. Are you aligned with what you're telling? Or do you know what you're talking about? Or are you just a copy of the market? If you want to be a leader of your market, you want to be able to lead yourself. If you want to be respected, you want to be able to respect yourself. How will you lead and respect yourself if you're just a copy version of someone else? Impossible, right? That's what I thought. My favorite quote: conviction is the drug of success in any area of your life. The more convinced you are about the work that you're doing and who you're showing up as, there's nothing that holds you back. Doubt is the enemy. Always sell something that you are 100% convinced that the market needs, that you have solved for yourself. A lot of people come to me because they want to make money. They want to grow their businesses to 6 figures and hopefully scale them to 7 figures. And they come to me because I'm someone who was able to build and exit a company for multi 6 figures. So I have pretty good idea of how it works. And I coached 3 people that made multi 6 figures too. And one of the core things that they always think they need is more clients, better offers, better marketing, better content. Now, what I'm going to show you is a word for word transcript By the way, this is a 50-page document case study from my highest performing clients. So people who have made multi six figures. If you read this, if you just read this, you have the keys and the blueprints to make six figures. So I'm going to read you one of the most impactful quotes in this. And I actually, I'll pick them up later. I have it. This is it. This is a client, just so you know the stats. This is a client who came to me. He had 15,000 subscribers on YouTube. After a couple of months working together, by the way, he had 15,000 subscribers on YouTube and he was barely making $1,000 to $2,000 a month. After a couple of months working together, he has 31,000 subscribers on YouTube. So it took him 5 years to get 15,000. In a couple of months, we doubled that. He went from making 2,000 to hitting his first 13,000 and now scaling to $25,000 a month. But not just that. He launched his first group coaching program and generated 24 new clients, paying him every month. But not just that. He went from 500 people on his email list that were not engaging, not buying anything, to 1,500 people who buy every single thing, not all of them for sure, but a big percentage who buy every single thing that he releases. So can you just imagine? Cool? And this is what he said. My biggest shift, and he calls it the decision shift moment. And by the way, if you want to, I don't know if you can see this, but it is like highlighted over here. The biggest decision shift moment is when I stopped chasing the perfect niche bio and I chose integrity. Success only really came when I dropped all the baggage and I aligned myself and I was so convinced about what I'm selling that it was impossible for me not to sell it. A lot of people chase strategies. A lot of people chase growth hacks. And that's why a lot of people are broke and just 1% or 2% of people make it. Because the real work is not in the strategy, it's the conviction. How convinced are you in the thing that you're selling? How convinced are you in the thing that you're scaling? How convinced are you in the work that you're doing? Do you believe it in your heart? Because if there's one grain of doubt, the audience is going to feel it. And the audience is going to feel that this guy is selling something that he does not 100% align with and believe. And this might be the thing that you're missing. Anyway, one of the most important lessons. You are your own greatest assets. Protect yourself, your routine, and your environment and your identity. I told you why it's so important to protect the environment, the identity, and the business. So I'm not going to repeat it, but I put it because it was a pretty big lesson. Think bigger and be dangerous about this. Soft is the enemy. Thinking small is the result. Look, I could have been very, very content with those results over here. I could have been like, I make, compared to the majority of a human race, I make approximately like 3% amount of money. Like there are only a few people in the world that make this amount of money every single month. Let's start with being honest about that. And I have a pretty good life. I just got a new house, a huge house. I'm getting married soon. I have an amazing woman next to me. I take care of my family. It's amazing. But that is very dangerous. The moment you are like, I'm content, I'm just like, everything is good, let's not push, is the moment you start losing your biggest advantage as a human being, not as a coach, not as an entrepreneur, not as an agency owner, as a human being, which is your ability to do greatness, your ability to do great stuff, your ability to impact other people. And if you want to tune into this ability, you have to think bigger. Yes, we made a lot of money, but next year we want to make triple that amount of money. We want to make $1.4 million net profit. And in 2027, we want to even triple that. Why? It's not about the money. It's about the impact and it's about the growth. It's about thinking bigger and playing bigger and becoming an entrepreneur who plays at a level where the moment that you're gonna actually just sorry, I'm gonna be very transparent. The moment that you're gonna die and you're on your deathbed, you're like, I gave it my all. And this is the sentence. I gave it my all. This is the thing that we're all chasing. And the last lesson, no assumptions, only data. We talked about it already, why it's so important for you to have data and to make moves based on data. Now, those are the lessons. 2026 moves. What are we going to focus on? The first target, $1.4 million in net profit in December 2026. And this is how I'm going to once I make this amount of money, what I'm going to do with it. So you could just read it. But most importantly, I want to make clients $10 million plus. So the 10x rule. If I make 1 mil, my clients need to make 10 mil. That's kind of the principle over here. Cool? So the 10x rule. Now, this is something that I really like that puts things into perspective. The US Treasury Department prints $1 million in 1 second. So I could definitely do it in 1 year. That's kind of the thinking behind this. And target number 2 is 95 kilograms, lean, under 12% body fat, and finishing an entire marathon. So over here we have the milestones. So exactly like the first milestone, the second milestone, the third milestone. I want you to think about milestones as dominoes. So what is the first domino? What is the second domino? What is the third domino that you're going to drop, pretty much? Let me see. Can you see my screen properly? Oh, awesome. Awesome. And then we have over here the behaviors. So the weekly behaviors, the daily behaviors, everything is tracked. And even the books that we're going to read. So one of the big things that I'm doing in this year is not buying new books, is rereading the books that are extremely impactful. So The Catalyst, Jonah Berger, everyone should read it. Contagious, Jonah Berger, everyone should read it. Oversubscribed, I didn't read it yet, but there have been a lot of recommendations to read it, so I'm going to try. Dollars Flow Easy to Me, one of the most impactful book on myself and my clients. Psycho-Cybernetics, same things. Obvious Adams, brilliant book, and the Bible, of course. And that's it. This is, by the way, this is an entire, I think this is 29 pages, something like that, so I'm not going to go through it step by step. But as you can see, the focus is on one thing. There's one target that we're going to hit. There's one funnel that I'm going to use to hit it. So basically, by the way, my funnels are very simple. I don't really do complicated shit. It's like top of funnel content that drives people to an application form. My offer is extremely good. So people usually book a call or they message me and they buy on chat. Now, the people who don't do that, I engage them and I send them to trainings or I engage them in the DMs. And this is where I send them into a training. And then from there, they have my WhatsApp number and then we either book a call or set by a chat. That's it. Literally, this is my entire funnel. So many people obsess about funnels. I know a guy who paid $10,000 for someone to map out his funnel. This took me 5 minutes, man. This took me 5 minutes. Stop paying for dumb shit. This is not the key. This anyone could put it together. ChatGPT could tell you exactly what to do. This is the key. Being able to balance your business, environment, and identity. And this is the key. Being able to know exactly the psychology of your market. When to create doubt. When to introduce a new path. When to introduce proof. When to get the sale. How to onboard and deliver. This is the art. This is the art that very few people do know. This is why I get paid thousands of dollars, because I know that. I know stuff that 90% of the people don't. Not this. This is the most simple thing in the world. But anyway, this is the plan. This is the map. This is everything. Hopefully this was valuable to you. Hopefully you were able to take some of the lessons, some of the mistakes, and you could implement it for yourself. And if in 2026 you want to really make a change, internally, externally, and in your business, you know where to find me. Bye bye.